Yo, 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 yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Today is June the 9th. 3 WNBA games for today. We will deep dive into them. But first, we start off with a quick recap of yesterday. As far as hold on, I need to make sure I place this bet. Okay. All right, cool. As far as gotta come back to that. Okay. As far as the WNBA goes yesterday, I ended up making two wagers yesterday. The first one was on Marine Johannes over her 1.5 threes, which we talked about yesterday. She just shot the ball really, really poorly. The looks were there. I think she finished like 2 for 5. 1 for 5. I think she just couldn't make a shot against Connecticut yesterday. I also talked about over in that game, which I didn't get to, but it did finish 169. And then Indiana Fever and the Washington Mystics. And I had -5.5 on the screen, pending Leah Boston's injury status. She ended up playing. But because the line had moved, and I hate to get the worst of the number, you guys know that. So I ended up taking the Indiana Fever halftime, full time, which they had a humongous lead. I think they were about 14 at halftime, and ended up, getting smoked in the third quarter. And then Caitlin Clark goes to the free throw line. She misses both free throws, but then she hits the game-winning three-pointer. So that ended up being a winner. So a 1-1 split for myself yesterday. The dogs did not cover. All three favorites actually covered yesterday. I'm sorry, all three dogs actually covered yesterday. None of the favorites covered yesterday. And I was kind of leery of laying those big lines yesterday with some of those teams. So hopefully you guys found some ways to make some money. Let's jump into it for today. Oh, and as far as NBA goes, so I talked about over on the show on, when was that, Sunday? And that was a winner. They finished 226. I also talked about Dylan Harper over his points. He finished with 13. So I think it was 13.5. That was a loser. And but he did shoot 5 for 18. You gotta love that. And then I talked about Luke Cornett, who ended up going over. I didn't think Luke Cornett would show up at all. He did. He had 5 boards yesterday. So 1 and 2 on the NBA plays yesterday, which is not good at all. Got to do a little bit better. Let's get into it for today. First off, we'll start with Jackson, your AI Sports Betting tool. Linked in the description of the video. For today's prompt, I asked Jackson. Let's see. So it's the detail one. Kind of want to switch it up. So analyze today's WNBA slate to identify the highest value opportunities for point spreads and player props. For point spreads, highlight teams with the strongest against the spread record when facing similar matchup variables such as rest advantage, home road splits, or recent offensive efficiency surges. So that is what we'll go with for today. There's also in the same prompt some player props prompt as well, which I don't want to read into right now. But the first one is on the Atlanta Dream and Chicago Sky, and it says that point spread analysis. It likes the Atlanta Dream here. It says they're entering this matchup as significant favorites, and the statistical profile suggests they're positioned to cover the 8.5 point spread. Atlanta has shown a strong 8 against the spread record when facing teams with defensive vulnerabilities, and Chicago currently ranks in the bottom tier of the league in points allowed per possession. The situational spot also heavily favors Atlanta. They're coming off a rest advantage, and compared to the Chicago squad that has struggled to find consistency. My model projects a double-digit victory for the Atlanta Dream, making an 8.5 point line. Money at plus money, elite value. Atlanta's ability to push the pace and exploit Chicago's perimeter defense, which has allowed a high volume of 3-point attempts recently, is the decisive factor. The next one is on, I'll give you guys a player prop look as well, which this one is on Veronica Burton of the Golden State Valkyries. Over her 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -126. It says that the analytical reasoning is that she's in a premier value. She is the premier value play on the board tonight. While her last 5 games is slightly below the line, her 10-game rolling average of 22.4 and her 72.73% hit rate shows a consistent ability to clear this threshold. Most importantly, Burton has been a road warrior, averaging 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists in visitor games this season, but she's actually at home, so take that with a grain of salt. It says she faces a Phoenix defense that ranks 13th in the league against their position for points, rebounds, and assists combo. This matchup combined with her high usage rate in road games, which again, she's not on the road, she's at home, makes the over 21.5 a high probability play. She's cleared this line 75% of her meetings against Phoenix over her last two seasons, averaging 27.25 points, rebounds, and assists. And this is on DraftKings. So those are two looks we'll go with for today. Atlanta minus the points and Veronica Burton over her points, rebounds, and assists at 21.5. And let's get into the game. So first one up is Atlanta in Chicago. I glanced at the injury report and didn't see anybody on the injury report that we don't already know of. Let me just double check. Yeah, Brianna Jones hasn't played for Atlanta, and then Courtney Vandersloot and Dejanay Carrington continue to be out. So we do have an Atlanta team that has been really, really good this season in general, and a Chicago team that really just has not. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it. Atlanta's covered 6 of their 10 spreads, back-to-back wins, a bounce-back win, against the Washington Mystics. They beat them by 32 after losing to Indiana. They do have a bit of a look-ahead spot on deck with the Libs on deck next at home, but 2 days of rest before this game. And then on the Chicago side of things, they have not been good recently, have not been good on the road, and really since Rakia Jackson got hurt. I think they've only won one game, and that was the game against Connecticut Sun, who everybody's beaten. So they're 1-4 straight up at home, 0-5 ATS at home because they didn't even cover that one. They were laying 7.5, only 2-7 ATS in their last 9, and 6 straight non-covers for them. They're coming off a 17-point loss in Toronto with 1 day of rest. So Atlanta has the rest advantage. Atlanta's been a better team. That's the way that I would look. They've also won 5 straight and 8 of the last 10 in the head-to-head matchup. You got Angel Reese being back in Chicago, and her first time being back in Chicago, and I think that is significant in this game as well. I like Angel Reese rebound prop in this game. I do think she'll be fired up. Just kind of listening to the quotes, she kind of talked about how Carl Semesko, her current coach, believes in her a lot more than what's the guy's name? Tyler Marsh, that currently coaches this Chicago team and coached her last year as well. So if we go over to Outlier and we look for Angel Reese, which she should be at the top. Here we go. Her rebound prop is listed at 11.5, and she leads the WNBA in rebounds yet again. Angel Reese has been an absolute workhorse, and Chicago offense isn't good, so I think the rebound opportunities will be there. It's not really predicated on her last few games, but you can see that she is over in 12, 13, and 17 in her last 3, and 3 of her last 4. The game she went under was against the Indiana Fever, and I want to say she did play 31 minutes in that game. She did not grab boards in that game. This is the worst rebound team in the WNBA on the other side, which being the Chicago Sky. You can see that they give up the 15th most rebounds. So you will not find Angel Reese in a better offensive rebounding, situation. And if we just look at her numbers for the full season, we can see that she averages right at 11.7. I actually would have thought this would open at 12.5, but she averages right at 11.7. The minutes, of course, are consistently there. Offensive rebounds 5.6, defensive rebounds 6.1. I think that she can grab a few more, and she'll be fired up. Her team will be motivated as well, in my opinion, to help her go over this, to get a double-double. She's averaging 13 points on the season as well. So I like Angel Reese over her rebound prop in this game. It feels like a game just because Chicago has struggled so much offensively, and I think that they will because Atlanta plays really good defense. I think that you'll continue to see that in this game. So Angel Reese over her boards, I think, is a really good look. As far as who scores for Atlanta, it could be a little bit of Ryan Howard. It could be a little bit of Alicia Gray. Chicago's they're actually a really good 3-point defense, but they give it up in the paint. They give it up in second chance opportunities. So potentially Angel Reese, they give up actually the most second chance points as well. And I think Atlanta will be able to get out and run on the break as well. So I like Atlanta minus the points. Haven't played it yet. You can get Atlanta first half full game, minus 135 on BetMGM. That's something that interests me as well. And Angel Reese over her boards in this game. All right, let's keep moving. Next game up is the Dallas Wings and the Minnesota Lynx. Probably the best game on the board for today. We have the Dallas Wings coming into this game. They've been red hot. They have Lee Roof listed as game time decision. Odyssey Sims is out after she rolled her ankle pretty bad and had to be wheelchaired off in her last game. And then on the Minnesota side of things, the same injury report: no Fee and no Dorka. So Dallas has been really good, like recently and on the road. They're 4-1 straight up and against the number in their last 5. I'm sorry, just on the road in general, and 7-3, both straight up and against the number. So if they win, they cover, and if they don't cover, they end up losing the game so far. They've won 4 in a row. They've covered all 4. They do have a 1-day rest advantage in this spot as well. Minnesota playing their second straight home game, 9-2 straight up and against the number so far this season. Third straight home game, so no travel for them. And they've won 7 in a row. They've covered 6 of the 7 as well. Only cover that they didn't, I think, came by a point when they were playing Golden State a couple games ago. And this is the second matchup. Minnesota went into Dallas, won that game last month. They were getting 3.5 points in that game. And I thought that Dallas was the right side in that game as well. And they ended up losing the game. Dallas did by 4, 90-86. So 176 points in that game. It did stay under the 177.5 total. And this total was opened a little bit lower. Minnesota has won 5 straight games against this Dallas Wings team overall. And man, you talk about a really good matchup. Like, I was looking at this game and I'm like, dang, everything kind of feels like it's probably where it should be. One thing that kind of stood out to me when I was looking at the game, though, is that both of these teams, like Dallas has a couple really good wins against some really good teams, but then they've also struggled against the really good teams as well. So it really just kind of depends on tier. I think Minnesota is definitely the top tier. They're 9-2, best record in the W. So if you go through and just look at Dallas, right? They are on a 4-game winning streak and 2 impressive wins against the Liberty. They were getting 6.5. Against the Aces, they were getting 5.5. Both of those games came at home, though. I'm sorry. Well, the Liberty game came at home. The Aces game came at home. I'm sorry. The Liberty game was on the road, but the Liberty were trying to get their roster together a little bit, and they've been playing much better since. The Sparks and the Storm, they did what they were supposed to do in both of them. Beat the Sparks by 10 on the road. By 8 on the road, and beat the Seattle Storm, crushed the Seattle Storm by 40 by 43. But I look at the losses that they have against Atlanta on the road. They lost that game, didn't cover. And then they lost to Atlanta again by 5, lost to Minnesota by 4. So it has been like these upper tier teams that the Dallas Wings have struggled with. Whereas you see it on the opposite side for Minnesota, they've just kind of beat everybody. Beat Golden State by 3, smoke Seattle, beat Phoenix, which is a bad team, beat Chicago, which is a bad team, beat Atlanta by 15. They were getting 2.5 points in that game, though. So I kind of think, I don't know, I kind of feel like I don't want to bet against Minnesota at home. This is Commissioner's Cup as well, where both teams are, undefeated. Minnesota is 3-0, and then the Wings are 2-0. You got Paige back in Minnesota where she grew up, and it's the number 1 overall pick, and AZ Fudd playing against Olivia Miles, who is, in my opinion, by far the rookie of the year so far in this campaign. So I had a couple of systems that said back Minnesota here, and really it was just like 2 good teams. You take the home team, that's 59% over 200, 59% ATS over a 240 game sample. 56% over a 16 game sample this season. And then actually I had 2. The other one was on it's pretty much the same system, but it's if they're a favorite and they're laying less than 5, they typically do pretty well. 64% ATS on an 80 game sample and 4-1 ATS this season. So that says to take Minnesota. Then I had a system that was on Dallas, and that system was teams playing with the rest advantage, and they are playing at least they played a few more road games than home games recently. So that actually says to take the dog. 56% over 140 game sample, 67% at 10-5 this season, ATS as well. So I don't think I want to take the side. Minnesota is catching some steam and this is moving up to 5.5 on a couple books. I don't think I would fade them at home. Dallas has been playing really, really good. I kind of wanted to bet on the under. I looked at teams that are on a winning streak of 7 games or more, and they are playing a really good opponent. So opponent also is really, really good, 55% win percentage or better. and it's a regular season game, it goes under about 62% of the time. These are, the number 1 and number 2 best offensive teams in the WNBA, though. And Minnesota is also the best defensive team in the WNBA as well. Dallas is 9th. I don't know if I'm going to end up getting there, but I do think I do kind of feel like I'm not fading Minnesota at home. That's what I'll say. Hard as it is, I don't want to fade Dallas because they've been playing really well. Losing Odyssey Sims could potentially hurt, just their backup. She's big, a good vet for this team. So I'll stay off of this one. From a player prop perspective, I didn't really look too deeply. The only thing that stood out to me was Jessica Shepard. I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but I was kind of looking towards Jessica Shepard over on her points and assists. Her rebounds was a tad bit too high for me, but her points and assists, I feel like those numbers are about right. So Jessica Shepard over her points and assists is also something I have on my short list. Again, I'm not going to pull it up just for time purposes, but I think you can get Jessica Shepard. And she didn't play well against them in the first game, but her points and assist line is 16.5. And she either goes really, really far over or just under. And I think even though she's playing against number 1 defense, I think she'll have to facilitate. Her assist prop is only at 5.5 when I looked at her, 4.5. So yeah, I think Jessica Shepard, points and assists, they're going to need her tonight, in my opinion. All right, next game up, last game on the board. Oh yeah, hit the like if you can, subscribe if you guys have not. And let's keep going. So last game on the board is the Phoenix Mercury and the Golden State Valkyries. This one, do kind of want to wait at least the middle of the day to figure out what's going on with Kalia Copper. She's listed as questionable in this game after missing the last one. And then Alyssa Thomas is probable. And then, of course, no Sammy Wickham. She hasn't played in a while. The Valkyries are clear of any injuries, at least at the time of this recording. So Phoenix, has not been good this season. Only 4-8 ATS so far. But they've been better on the road. Of their 4 wins, 3 have actually come on the road. So they're 3-4 ATS and straight up on the road. Back-to-back wins for them. But granted, they came against Seattle and a Portland team that I'm not sure of anymore. Like Portland, has some really good home wins, and then they have some really, really head-scratching losses recently. Back-to-back unders for this Mercury team as well. And they've actually played 5 of their last 6 games under the number. So Mercury playing a little bit better defense. And then offensively, they've really struggled, as you can see in this graphic. 10th in offensive rating, 10th in defensive rating against the Valkyrie team that's been really, really good. The other thing about the Phoenix Mercury in this game is they play 5 of their last 6 games on the road, and this will be their 3rd straight road game. So typically it's a spot you want to fade, in my opinion, where you get a road dog that is coming off a win as a road dog. And then on the Golden State side of things, 3-3 ATS at home. So as good as the Golden State's been, they haven't been covering numbers at home. Just about 50%. This is their first game home off a 2-game road trip where they did lose both. They lost to Minnesota, and then they lost to the Aces. So they've lost 3 of their last 4 because they also lost to the Aces when they were at home in one of those games, and then they beat the Portland Fire. So I do think you'll get a fired-up team for that reason. The Valkyries did win the first matchup between the two teams, 95-79 as a home favorite. They were laying 2.5 in that game, and it did go over to 159.5 as well. I kind of think we see points in this game, and I kind of think we see them at least from the Valkyrie side of things. I like Valkyries team total over. I know that the Mercury have been playing a little bit better defense, but those numbers could be skewed. Again, they played against the Portland Fire, who are one of the worst offensive teams in the WNBA, and the Seattle Storm, who are the worst team, the worst offensive team in the WNBA. So if we just look really quickly, I didn't even look at this, but I had a system which I'll share with you guys in a second. Just kind of says that the team could run out of gas, run out of offense in this spot, run out of defense in this spot, which is the Mercury spot. The fate of the Mercury playing so many road games. So I looked at teams that have played at least 5 of their last 6 on the road, which the Valkyries have, the Phoenix Mercury have. And those games are 41, 26-1 to the over. That's 61%, 2-0 to the over so far this season, and 10-1 to the over in the last 11. This tells me that the Valkyries team total at 85.5 is absolutely obtainable. They've gone under that number in back-to-back games versus 2 really good defenses in the Aces and the Lynx. But they got 95 against the Fire the last time they were at home. They scored 90 against the Fever, 97 against the Sun in the first game. The Sun, 87 against the Libs, 95 against this Mercury team, and then 91 against the Storm. I would love for Kalia Copper to be rolled in so she can push the pace and, they can be able to score a little bit more. But regardless of all that, I think that the Golden State Valkyries will win the game, and I think that they will be able to score in this game as well. The other thing that stood out to me is, and it's in the graphic, you can see it actually at the bottom. These teams are polar opposites as far as 3-point shooting. You can see that the Valkyries in the bottom right-hand corner, they're where is it? Shooting profile. So 3-point attempts, they are, let's see, this is, oh, no, never mind, that's their defensive rating. So their offensive rating, I thought I put it in here, maybe I did not. Above the break threes are 8th. So let's see real quick. I know that when I was looking at it, the Valkyries are, they're number 1 in 3-point. I just don't see that in the graphic. They're number 1 in 3-point attempts, makes, and percentage at 38%. And this Phoenix defense is the worst 3-point defense at 38.4% as far as opponent 3-point percentage, opponent 3-point makes. They give up the most at 10.2. Same thing for above the break three. And I think that's the big advantage here for this Valkyries team. So Valkyries team total over. I also was looking at Kayla Thornton real quick. If we go back to Outlier, because this is one that will probably, it's on my short list, but it'll probably end up being a play. I think the odds won't get any better on this one. If we go back, and Outlier is always pinned in the description if you guys are interested in checking it out. If we go here, we type in Kayla, I do think her 3-point prop at 1.5 is very, very interesting, being that you can get this at plus money on Caesars. I don't think it's going to close at plus money. Over 1.5 threes for Kayla Thornton. So we just look at her full season. You can see that she played against the Phoenix. She had 3. In her home games, I feel like she's been doing a little bit better. But yeah, you can see 3 of her last 4 games, the attempts are there. If we come down here, we just needed to hit 2, and she's taken 7, 10, 4, and 5 attempts in her last 4 games. So if we can still, we can continue to get these attempts, we'll be golden. And in this first game against the Phoenix Mercury, she hit 8 as well. So Kayla Thornton to hit 2 threes, and then maybe a sprinkle on Kayla Thornton to hit 2 to hit 3 threes as well. Which she's done, 4 in 4 games so far this season as well. I think there's value on that. And you can see here, 3-pointers made allowed, 15th is what this Phoenix Mercury defense allows. So I like Kayla Thornton over her 3-point prop as well, man. Let's jump into a quick recap. I feel like I've been talking for a really long time. All right, so this is from yesterday. Let's get that off. All right, first game, if I'm betting, I do think it's Atlanta minus the 8.5 in that game. I'm just not interested in Chicago right now. Whatever they're buying, I'm not. Whatever they're selling, I'm not buying. But if you want to take it the safer route, Atlanta halftime, full time is minus 135 on BetMGM at the time of this recording. Angel Reese over her 11.5 rebounds against her old team, could just be over her points as well. And then Dallas, Minnesota, I think I'm gonna stay away from that one. Probably just really watch that one, but slightly lean towards the under. And then this Phoenix team, it's Golden State team total over 85.5. Again, you can wait for Kalia Copper, and then I like Kayla Thornton over her 1.5 threes made, 3-point makes, 3-point makes. Okay, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so that's what I like for today. I think we should be profitable. If we play all of these, I think we should be profitable. Resources linked in the description as they always are. Jackson, Outlier, Moneyball, and OddsJam. Check those out. There are coupon codes and referral codes to save some coin if you guys are interested in checking any of those out. And then, hit the like on the way out, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, y'all enjoy your Tuesday. I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. I'm out.